Okay, we can start.
Yeah. Okay. So good morning to the students of Indian Academy. Uh, so um,
I
uh,
will.
Krishna Kumar, I am interested to talk about immunity, health, and hygiene. I feel that this topic is.
Shija, ma'am, 1 minute. I would just start with the introduction
Um,
and then I would hand it over to you. Uh, a very good morning to all of you. On behalf of IAS School of Management Studies, I, Dr. Reena Sham, extend a warm welcome to all of you on this online session with the theme Wellness and Immunity Boosting in the COVID era. As countries across the globe join hands to battle against the novel coronavirus, medical experts are working at breakneck speed to find a cure for the highly infectious disease. With no definitive cure in sight, a lot of people are working on boosting their immunity. To share with us knowledge on this very relevant topic of how to boost our immunity system, we have with us Dr. Shija Krishnakumar. Today's speaker, Dr. Shija, is an alumni faculty of IASMS and has been an integral part of the progressive initiatives and development of the institution for almost 8 years. We are extremely happy to connect with ma'am on this occasion. To give you a brief introduction of Dr. Shija, she is presently working as assistant professor at Christu Jayanti College of Management. Her educational qualifications include a double post-graduation in medical microbiology from Rajiv Gandhi Center for Biotechnology and masters in management as well. Dr. Shija has a PhD in management from VTU. While pursuing her master's in science at Trivandrum, she had the opportunity of working in the laboratory of Sri Chitra Tirunol Institute of Medical Science and Technology. After her post-graduation, she worked with Quality Control Department of a pharmaceutical company, where she was engaged in microbiological and chemical analysis of pharmaceutical products. She later switched over from industry and chose to be a part of the education sector. She now has a total of 18 years of experience, which includes both industry and teaching. We are so glad to connect with Dr. Shija Krishnakumar as a resource speaker for the session. Thank you, ma'am, and over to you.
Ma'am, for giving me this opportunity to um, present something, to talk something about this particular topic. As you said, this is a very relevant topic. Many of the things we all know about it, but since you have given me a chance, I thought I'll put some of my thoughts and something which is very relevant for our students. So as you said, that today's topic is about immunity. So when you talk about immunity, definitely we have to talk something about health and the hygiene aspect. So let me start today's topic by so these are the things which I'm planning to cover today. Something about the immune systems, immune response, how immunity can be developed, and things like that. And then about what are when you talk about diseases, there are different ways by which you get disease. It is not only about uh, one kind of a microbe. There are varieties of things are there. So just a brief idea about what exactly these microbes are, and then about the health and hygiene aspect. So how exactly we have to take care of our body so that no we can reduce the infection which is coming from outside. And what are the ways by which the transmission happens, that the viruses or bacteria, whatever it is being transmitted from one place to another, or from one person to another person. And then something about the vaccine, something about antibiotics, and then the last topic about herd immunity and the reverse quarantine. Then at the end, I'll talk something about the present pandemic. So these are the things which I'm planning to talk about today. So I hope it will be interesting. I'll try to make as interesting as possible. So let us start with the immune system, or how exactly the body tries to get away from the diseases. And when you look into the way in which our body is made, see, it has been a defend. I mean, the body tries to defend from any of the organisms which is entering from the outside. When you look into it from a holistic point of view, you find that there are different lines, or different stages the body is trying to protect us from any of the organisms which is entering to our body. So we can say that it is like first line, second line, third line. So different lines we say it is all for theoretical purpose. So we should be grateful to the Almighty or the God who has created us in such a way that see, we are away from all these things. But because of our lifestyle, the way in which I mean, we make our life in a different manner. So all these things put together, we find that we are accustomed to many of the problems which we face today. So if you look into the first line of defense, you find that your skin, your digestive system, different types of systems, three different types of mechanisms are there whereby the organism is not allowed to go beyond that and you're not getting the diseases. But sometimes if it goes further, so there again you have second line of defense, you have like different types of phagocytosis. I think phagocytes, the process is called as phagocytosis. You would have studied now smaller classes about how NEPR tries to take the materials inside. No? See that kind of a process happens. So then we try to engulf these microorganisms and kill it and protect our body. Then you have the immune systems. So let us try to know more about it. What exactly this immune system is all about. Before understanding about the antigens and antibody and things like that, so let me talk about from the body itself, like what are the organs which is supporting you for protecting from these organisms. So you call it as lymphatic systems. So when we talk about lymphatic systems, the very important organs which we have is one is the spleen, very important organ. It's try to, I think it is the largest lymphatic organ in our body, where we produce more of white blood corpuscles. I think we have studied in our smaller classes about when students, I mean, till then we have studied science because most of them will be commerce students, isn't it? We have studied about white blood corpuscles, red blood corpuscles, and we have studied that the white blood corpuscles are the blood cells which protect our body. Here, apart, and we have tried to understand that what exactly the difference between those two. We have understood that this white blood corpuscles are the body which fight against the disease. So that is what when we talk about where it is being generated or where it is being produced and which are the organs which is involved in it, that is what we explained in this particular slide. You find different types of organs like bone marrow is one of the very important place where these cells are being produced. Another important site is like thymus, and there are different types of lymph nodes. You can see it at many places. So these are all the places where these lymphocytes have been produced, where the white blood corpuscles have been produced. So I have, I think, but it's not going to see something down also. Anyway, it is okay. So just to make you understand that how well we are protected from all these microorganisms which are entering into our body. So then one important aspect about the thymus, I would like to speak something more about that. Why it is like that is that because as the age advances, what happens to thymus is that it gets disintegrated and it will not function as it is in the early stages. So as the years goes on, in the human body, the activity of the thymus is getting reduced. So, if you look into a person who is about 60, 65 years of age, you find that it is almost, the thymus is not at all working at all. It is just some piece of muscles which is being formed. So, there is no action. It is like a fatty tissue which is being reduced into. So that can be one of the reasons why that elderly people, we always say that they have to be very careful with it. One thing is that they have so many other kind of diseases. Yeah, I mean, as the age advances, you find many of the diseases like, for example, cholesterol or any of the such kind of heart diseases or brain issues or so such kind of things. Because as the years of advances, what happens is that our the systems are also getting weakened. So that is why we say that thymus, especially when you look into it, it is becoming a fatty tissue. There is no function at all. So all these things put together can be the reason why it has been said that the elderly people have to be more careful when this kind of a pandemic is happening. But all the other immune systems are working quite well for most of the people. So, but we have to keep on some booster dose or like how it has to be nourished with so many things so that the immune system is working very well. So that is something which I would like to speak about the kindness. So then I said about the different organs of which is protecting our body. Apart from that, when you look into it in a microscopical aspects, you find that there are different types. So as I said before, one is that in your the bone marrow and in your lymphoid cells, so many cells have been created. So what are those cells which helps you to protect you from other organisms? I'm not going into detail of that, just to give you a glimpse of it, because unless otherwise you understand that so much is there to protect us, so that will give you a much of a confidence. That is the only reason why I put this particular slide. So you find that here, see, as I said, erythrocytes, that is the red blood corpuscles, and another one is about the leukocytes, which is, so these are the two cells which we have it, and here, all these cells are related to white blood corpuscles, and they help in the immune system. But when you talk about red blood cells, it is not related to immune. They have its own other functions like the transportation of oxygen and other things which is used. So here you find that the stem cells you have it, and you have different types of cells. All these cells are related to white blood corpuscles, except these two, all the again these cells which is the names which is different, they all are related to white blood corpuscles. So you can imagine that how much the creator has helped us to see that our body is protected from many of the organisms from outside. So we don't have to worry much about it. Only thing that we have to see that whether we are giving enough nourishment for all these organisms, so that sorry, for all these cells, so that these cells are being nourished properly. So in this particular slide, what I'm trying to say is we are trying to define the word before entering into the details about the immune response and other things. We have to define the word immunity. Try to find out that what do you mean by this, the immune system, or the word immunity is all about. So as we said that previously, that many of the microorganisms is entering into your body. So how exactly our body is trying to resist these harmful microorganisms from entering into yourself? So that mechanism is what we call it as immunity. When we talk about the immune systems, so how exactly our body is able to protect ourselves from other organisms entering into it. For that, what is that body is doing is that they generate antibodies. So antibodies are being produced in our body, and then these antibodies will stay in our body for a longer period of time and try to protect the other organisms, when any of the organisms. Again, it is not any other organisms. I'll talk about that in detail in the next. See here, anything which is entering into your body from outside is called as antigens. So that is what we use the word foreign molecules, foreign bodies. So foreign doesn't mean that it is only the pathogens, in the sense like microorganisms which is harmful to your body, and not only is what we are talking about. Anything which is entering, it can be pollen grains, it can be dust, or anything which is very small in nature, which is entering into your body, anything can be called as a foreign body. So that is what we call as antigens. And any antigen which is being entering into it, see the body tries to create something kind of a replica of that which is called as antibodies, and we try to attack that and try to nullify it, so that your body is getting protected from that. So that is what here I've shown you an example of. See, this is a bacterial cell, and which is having so many kind of germs on the top of it. So what happens is that based on that, these antibodies are being created. All these things are created by your body, and it goes and stuck onto that. And when more antibodies are there, you find that it is getting enveloped, or it is getting, that the mobility of it is being reduced, and it tries to attack on that, it is being destroyed. So that is what you see there. See here you find that there are so many antigens here, and many of the antibodies are getting attached to that, and then it is at one point of time you find that it is destroyed. So for that, that is what we talk about the immunity. Whether your body is able to create as many antibodies as possible, and whether that antibodies are able to kill these antigens, any foreign material which is entering your body. So that is what we have to understand more about it. So since our classes are going to start, maybe starting because government is thinking about starting our classes. So we have to see to that, like how exactly we can improve the immune system, so that we are not getting disease. So when we talk about the immunity are of two types, you can say that one is innate immunity, another one is acquired immunity. So what is innate immunity? Innate in the sense that's inborn. That as soon as you are born to some kind of immunity, you develop within your body. So that is what we call as innate immunity. What do you mean by acquired immunity? Immunity which you get it from outside. So based on whatever you get it from outside, uh, um, outside in the sense, I'll explain more about that. So based on that, how exactly the immunity is being developed, so that is what we call as acquired. It is not from birth you are getting it is getting from outside, or as the years goes by, how you develop that. So that is what we meant by acquired immunity. So this acquired immunity can be classified into two, active and passive. Active in the sense like as a result of antigens. So that is what antigenic response is, what I explained now. That means like antigen entering into the body, that is the foreign particles entering into your body, and your body is able to create antibodies against. So that is what we call it, some kind of an activity. It is very active in nature. So that is why we call it as an active acquired immunity. So this
Hello,
antibody which is being created,
ma'am.
yeah,
Sorry to disturb you.
yeah, tell me, Reena. Uh, so, uh, so, uh, Reena, can I continue?
Yeah, your voice, ma'am, is little feeble, so students are texting, they are not able to hear clearly, ma'am.
I'll talk a little more loudly.
Yeah, yeah, now it's fine, ma'am.
Okay. I hope whatever I've said, any doubts you have related to it, because since you are not able to hear, if you have any doubts still, whatever I spoke, I can um, say that once again, because I didn't know, look at the chat. So if you have any doubt at the end, you can ask me. So I'll explain about those things in one second. So as I said, we have innate immunity and acquired immunity. And acquired immunity, it's of two types. One is active and another one is passive. So active is as a result of antigenic response. Again, active can be divided into natural and artificial. So what exactly you mean by this natural? See, I give you with an example. A time in which in your 7th standard or in a 10th standard, any one period of time, most of them would have encountered with the chicken pox, isn't it? So when you get chicken pox, what happens is that you suffer from that disease for some days, and after that, you are getting relief from that. So during that time, what is happening inside your body is that the chicken pox is a virus which is entering into your body. Again, that is an antigen. It is entering into your body. What is that the antigen doing? It is creating antibodies. Antibodies related to the chickenpox virus. That you have to be very, very careful about. And this antibodies, it will stay in your body for a longer period of time. Most of the time, it is almost for your lifetime, or maybe. So that is why some people, later if they get a chickenpox also, what happens to them? They are not. I mean, most of them will not get any disease. Some people get a very rare, very less symptoms, and they are able to recover from it, mainly because of this antibody which is already been developed because of the previous attack of the virus. So that is what we call it as naturally you are defending yourself from that diseases, and antibodies have been created naturally. Then the second one is about the artificial vaccine. It is, artificial ways that is by injecting vaccines into your body. That is also like these vaccines are made up of these viruses, and that is being injected into your body, and then based on that antigen which is being injected, your body will develop antibodies. So here you find that one is naturally you are getting it, another one is artificially you are getting. Another one is passive. You don't have to worry much about the passive one, because passive in the sense like it is not, the body doesn't have much of an activity there. Here, one is that from your birth, from mother to baby, what you get it naturally, that is what we call, because it is like in the antibody form only, it is being transferred from the mother to baby through placenta and things like that. So that is what we call it as natural, passive, natural kind of an immunity. Another one is artificial, like see, your body is creating antibodies. See, so there are ways by which the antibodies are being created from outside and it is being injected to people. See, those kind of things we do it, especially doctors, nurses, such kind of a people. When see, especially in some places, if they are going for treatment of some kind of a disease. See, for example, Ebola, when it has been there. See, sometimes if those vaccines are, such kind of an antibodies are available, the people will inject that into their body and go, so that that will be able to. It is not, the body is not creating any antibody. Antibody is itself already there in your body, but that activity will be there only for a shorter period of time. So that is why generally we don't go for a passive kind of a acquired immunity. So I hope with this you understood something about how exactly the different types of immunity with our body. So here what we have to focus more about is that, like, about the natural way, how exactly naturally we can develop the immunity is what we are trying to understand more about. Because artificial we are trying to do, you all know that Pfizer last week in the newspaper and the media were explaining about Pfizer, how I mean, they are saying that they are trying to come out with a vaccine within a short period of time, which we have to still wait and watch. Again, in this slide, what I'm trying to say about is the different types of microbes. So, till now we were hearing more about viruses, some people say about bacteria, but it is not only about virus and bacteria. There are other organisms also, like fungus, you would have heard about protozoans, isn't it? So, all these things also causes diseases for the human beings. Again, as I said before, antibodies related to chickenpox, if it has been created. See, that antibodies are good only for chickenpox. See, if it is like measles means, see, that antibodies is not able to attack these measles. So for each organism, the body will try to create its own antibodies, and that will remain in your body for a longer period of time. So why I said about these microorganisms is just to make you understand that these are the different types of microorganisms which create infections for the human being. So we have to be, it's not only about virus or bacteria. So depending upon what kind of a disease you are getting it, you have to understand that whether it is being caused by virus or it is, for example, E. coli, it is a bacteria. But when you talk about chickenpox, it is a virus, isn't it? So that is what we have to know about it, whether what kind of an organism is attacking it. The next is about um, next slide. When we are ill, so see, as the organisms enters into your body, it tries to attack the particular target site and try to lodge into a one particular site, and it start multiplying from that particular place. So once it start multiplying, what happens is that the our immune mechanisms, like as I said some time back about the different organs of our body and all these cells which I explained before, all these things start attacking it and try to see that the organisms are being killed. So in case, and then what happens is that it tries to extract these nutrients and it starts growing within the organism. I mean, so that is the time you say that you are sick or you are ill. If it is, if our body is able to attack it back and if we are winning it, so that is the time we say that we are safe or we are our immune system is good. And but the problem here is that we are not knowing it whether we are safe or we are whether the organism has entered into your body. So that is the big challenge we have it in front of us. So that is the time you have to think about how hygiene we have to be or how much is that the health aspect you have to look into it. So that is what the challenge in front of us. So before talking about the health and hygiene aspects, let me talk about something about the way in which you get the disease. Different types of disease, as I said, respiratory tract diseases you get it, or gastrointestinal tract, urogenital tract, or again, like through skin also we get some diseases, especially like tetanus, how we get it, isn't it? So that is by invading the skin and then the particles, I mean these organisms entering into your body, that Clostridium tetani is the bacteria which will cause such kind of a problem. So here you find that see, gastrointestinal, it will not be all, I mean, loose motion is because of Vibrio cholerae, it may not be. So that is what whenever we come across such kind of a problems, we go to doctor, they try to identify that what kind of an organisms has attacked you. So based on that is what the medicine is being given to you. The next slide is about, 1 minute. Yeah. So how exactly, what are the roots of the transmissions? So how you get the diseases? So sometimes what happens is that you take some food from outside, especially from restaurants, you take food and we don't know what is going behind it, right? So that is a time it is not being cooked properly. That is one aspect. The second thing is that it is not hygienically cooked, means like vessels are not being cleaned, and so that is a time you get it. Or maybe like all the products which you are using, especially the vegetables are not washed properly, the flesh of any of the animals which is being cooked, that is not being taken care of well. So all these things causes disease. Even the eggs, if it is not being boiled properly, see, because you find that if a slight crack on the shell of the egg, no, that also sometimes salmonella, that is one bacteria which can enter into the eggs. And just an example to make you understand about it. Again, when you talk about fruits also, anything which you are taking it raw, you should be very careful that whether, I mean, since it is peeled and then you are taking it from, that is from on to, taking something from the roadside, you have to be very careful with it, whether it has been cleaned properly, it has been washed well before you consume. Uh, so the next important thing is about when you go to especially the public toilets, uh, because there are a lot of people who are entering and going out, and we are not sure about it who is having diseases. So when they touch the taps after going to the toilet, no? So what happens is that some of the bacteria it will get attached to the taps or the handle of the toilet. So they were a healthy, not I'm not talking about healthy person, any other person who is entering into the next time into the same toilet. So when they touch it, that organism is getting stuck on your hand. So that is the time. And then again, when you directly go to another place where you are having some food or something, so automatically these microorganisms enters into your body. So that is why we say that whenever we go to public toilets, such places, we have to be very careful about it. The another thing is that about person-to-person contact. That is another way by which. So that is what here we are very careful. I mean, the government and the medical authorities are warning us many times about this particular pandemic is mainly because the microorganisms can transmit from one person to another mainly through coughing and sneezing. So you have to be very careful how exactly the person who is really suffering from that disease, how we are. I mean, not in contact with such kind of a person because I'll talk more about that in the coming slides, say whether it is airborne or through droplets it is being spread. Then another way of the disease can spread from one person to another is through insects. You know about the malaria, you know about chikungunya, dengue, and all those types of diseases. It is being spread through insects. So that is another mode of the disease can be spread from one person to another. Another one is about the sexual intercourse or sharing of the same syringe. So that is what some time back government has taken strict measures to see that, I mean, so many years back, that especially the syringe which the nurses use for the injecting, either to give you injections or for taking blood or anything. So what they do is that once that has been used, it should not be used for a second person, isn't it? Because it has to be I mean, it has to be destroyed. Why it is like? Because that also can chances of disease to spread from one person to another through these kind of things. See, I have a lot of examples to give. HIV/AIDS is spread through that. Then you can say the gonorrhea. I mean, gonorrhea, syphilis, and all is through sexual intercourse. So you have to be very careful with the partners in this because with they are having intercourse. Otherwise, chances are there if somebody is suffering from such kind of a disease, it gets spread to other person. So these are the different routes by which you transmit the disease. The next one we are talking about is, see, till in the early stage, it has been said that this particular disease, this COVID-19, is being spread through air, which is an airborne disease, is what initially people were saying about. Then they said that no, it is not airborne, it is a droplet. So I thought like two slides I'll put it related to what exactly the difference between the droplet transmissions of this particular, I mean, any of the viruses or bacteria which is related to droplet or airborne, what exactly the difference or how exactly we can explain about it. So when we talk about the droplets, you see somebody sneezes. So what happens is that what is from their mouth, that the saliva particles, it comes out, and when it sticks on the other persons, what happens is that it enters through. I mean, especially if you are inhaling it, what happens is that if your body is not immune enough, so you will get the disease. Uh, mm, so that is what we say about transmission occurs by direct contact with the infected persons and in direct contact with the surfaces in the image. That is what when you sneeze and if that particle falls on the desktop or what you call mini table or anything, and another person comes in contact with that. So and again, what happens is it will be stick onto your hand, and then later when you are taking food or anything, it enters your body. So that is what it is being said that you have to sanitize your hand every time while it is being said that we are not sure that each person, I mean, what has happened to that different places or things which you are touching it. Because when you go out, then come back, you would have washed your hands, but if the hand is not, I mean, after washing it is, I mean, if your hand is not cleaned properly, or maybe like some of the things which are brought from outside. We are not very sure that what are the particles, I mean, what kind of a particles would have it is attached to onto that. So based on that, so that is why every now and then we have to watch why the authorities are saying is that since like we are not very sure about it, what are the things or what kind of an organisms are settled on the top of those products which are brought from outside or within your house itself. So that is what we talk about washing the hands every now and then. But if you're very sure that yes, we have not gone outside, we are only inside the house, no things have come from outside, washing the hands every now and then is not very important. So that is what when we talk about the droplet transmissions, what we have to think more about is it the hygiene, the frequent hand hygiene. So that is a very important aspect. Respiratory etiquette, like when you are sneezing, how exactly you are sneezing. If you are nowadays it has been said that you have to keep your hand, I mean that elbow region, you know, there you have to sneeze. So that no, if you are sneezing onto your hand, the chances are that the next moment you will be touching something else. So for example, I'm sitting in front of a computer, mouse is there, I'll be touching the mouse. And later when I get up from here, somebody else comes and sit here, they will be touching the mouse. See, definitely the organisms which is been there on top of the mouse will be, I mean, other person will get it. So that is what we talk about, it, some kind of, and again, use a handkerchief for using it, and that handkerchief which you are using, it should not be shared with others, or it should not be thrown here and there. So those the kind of cleanliness or such kind of a precaution has to be taken. Then environmental cleaning and disinfection. You have to see to that, like how it is not only that you protect yourself, you have to see that others are also being protected in a proper manner. In the sense, like when you're sneezing it and or spitting and all those things. We'll be talking more about that in the coming. So unprotected, I mean, like, so that is why we talk about maintaining a physical distance. So because we are not sure that wearing mask, how much is that you are protecting yourself and from the other person. Because no, see, for example, people wear cloth masks, isn't it? So even I wear that. So I'm not very sure that with that the two-layered mask is what I'm using. But I'm not sure that whether the virus is how much, because the size of the virus is so small that we are not sure about it. How much is that? Whether whether it is able to enter into that. So many kinds of studies are being done, but so if you keep some distance also, then we are more protected from such kind. So that mask plus distance, that is what the government is saying, that we have to maintain that in a proper manner to avoid this disease till we get a vaccine. See, there are a lot of, apart from droplets, there are a lot of airborne diseases also, which is widely spread in our country. I mean, everywhere. It's not only in our country. So, when you talk about airborne, see, I can give you some examples like measles, tuberculosis, even mumps. All these things are varicella zoster. All these viruses are there in the environment. The sense like, see, when you compare to those, I think that this particular disease, this COVID-19, it is not very scary or it is not that contagious. Because other viruses, what happens is it is there in the environment. When you inhale, if you have any problem in like your immune system is not that strong enough, see, you will get the disease. So that is what we talk about it, about the airborne diseases. But it is been now it has been said that COVID-19, I mean, still that debate is going on. I'm not very sure about it. Whatever it is, so we have different types of diseases. That is what I would like to say. So every time, if you maintain a good health, good hygiene practices, you can get away from all these things. Is what I would like. So how exactly, I mean, the immunodeficiency occurs? Well, if, for example, as the age advances, what happens is that our immune systems, as I said in the previous slides, it will start fading, isn't it? As the years goes by, all your systems will start fading. So that is a time you have to think about it, like how exactly you have to maintain it. And even especially you youngsters at this age itself, if you maintain it in a proper manner, I am sure that such kind of a problems can be avoided to a greater extent. Again, another thing is that we take unwanted stress. So stress is a major problem which creates a lot of problems. There we have a hormone called cortisol. So this hormone, what happens is that if such kind of hormones are being produced in excess, so it will call it as stress hormones. So you have to reduce that well, to a particular level. So that is the time we have to take what we call exercises. Some mild exercises you can take it, or in yoga, meditation, that is quite good, or maybe like listening to some good music. See, there is something called happiness hormone. We call it as serotonin. So such kind of a hormones has to be increased more. So that will give you a healthy feeling, or you are immune system will start functioning up. So that is one important thing. Don't take unwanted tension, stress, because let's say if you affected with such kind of a things, you will not be able to do the things in a proper manner. The third important thing is about the sleep. Very, very, very important, which we are, most of the youngsters don't practice that properly, thinking that like what see, you don't find the effect of it immediately. So that is why people keep on doing that mistake again and again. 7 hours of sleep is very important for everybody. And again, especially small kids, it may go up to 8 to 10 hours of sleep. But we, you youngsters, not we, you youngsters, requires a good amount of sleep. It is very essential because it helps to. It is already been written here. Decrease the production of protective. The protective cytokines, which production of it will be reduced if you don't sleep when properly. And see, if you, I mean, that will affect many other things also. It will affect your brain, it will affect your immune systems. So all those things will get problems if the sleep is not good. Then talking about the non-nutritious food. See, we all, I mean, especially youngsters have a very bad habit of taking food from outside. Again, we use the word junk food. Why we say about junk food is mainly because it doesn't, even if it doesn't contain much of the nutrients. See, what is the use of having taking such kind of a food? So such kind of a food, what happens is that it will not give you much nourishment for your cells. So then the cells are all depriving of nourishment. So then it will not be able to, when the organism from outside enters into your body, it will not be able to attack it and kill it. So that is why we say that you have to take a lot of food which is giving you much of a nourishment, especially when we talk about vitamin A, D, then we talk about iron, zinc. All these things are very, very important, especially in the different medias you may be knowing about it, the relevance of these things. You find that taking of leafy vegetables gives you more of nourishment, in the sense like all these things, elements which I said now, like vitamin A and D and even iron and zinc, all these things. I mean, especially zinc, if you take it, if you take vegetables, mushroom is very good. If you take fruit, kiwi is quite good. Leafy vegetables give you, it's many of the seafood will give you much of a zinc component. D is something which is quite less, mainly because people don't go outside, because instead of taking fruits or vegetables related to D, by vitamin D, instead of that you can go for the sunlight, if you can get it between 11 and 3 o'clock. So between that, the rays, if you are, the sun rays, if you are able to get it, see, that will help you to develop this particular vitamin. And iron, there are so many kinds of vegetables, you all know about it, like soya bean is quite good. Some of the fishes are having it. So because iron is a thing which helps in supplying the, I mean, the carrying the oxygen, isn't it? You have studied in a smaller classes. So again, A, if you take into it, egg is in the egg, it is there, the milk, it is there, some of the fruits like papaya, mango, and all these things. I think all these things you all know much about it, and many of the things are there in one of the social media. I mean, sorry, if you just Google search it, you will know more about it. So what I would like to say it in nutshell is that about take nutritious food, avoid junk food, and one, if you're having it also once in a while, so that no, your body is not being, they're not what you call creating a problem for your body. So that is what about the food we like to talk about it. Then the last one I put it about the good gut health. Means like your the stomach is also is a very important function, because the food has to be churned properly, and if it is churned properly, only the food will be able to be absorbed by the body, so that the nutrients has to be absorbed by the body. So these are all some of the things which has to be taken care. As we all know about it, some of the hygiene practices which I would like to say, some are already spoken about. Washing your hands. So how well you are washing it, I think WHO has come up with the how exactly you have to clean the hands. It has been shown through different media, isn't it? So you all know about how to wash your hands. And while even we all have the bad habit of not washing our hands before eating, so otherwise you have to use spoon and fork. But it's better always wash the hand and then have it, because even though you use a spoon and whatever the things you use it, chances are that at some point of time your hand will be touching the food. So see to that you are washing your hands before eating it. Again, washing, it is simple washing will not remove bacteria or viruses. So what you have to do is that you have to use soap and water. So that is what generally, I mean, that is the best way of doing it. But nowadays we use a sanitizer. uh, my personal opinion is that sanitizer is good when it is when you are outside your house or office or college, because sanitizer contains a lot of chemicals in it, which you are not sure what are the harmful effects that is having it towards your body. So whenever you get a chance to wash your hands with soap and water, that will be the ideal way of doing it. But you see, when you're outside, when you don't have a chance of washing with soap and water, sanitizer will be the helpful fund to see that. Yeah. And again, one more important thing that I will say is that at any point of time when you're outside, don't bring your hand closer to your face. So that is a very important thing which you have to take it, because hands may carry so many different types of weight, because we don't know where all we are touching it. It may be a book, your pen, your car key, or mobile. So many things you are touching it. We don't know that what all, I mean, germs were being there on all that. So at any point of time, don't touch your nose, your mouth. You see some people, when something goes into your teeth and you put your hand inside your mouth and things like that. See, try to avoid all these things, because unless otherwise these organisms enters into your body, I mean, to an extent you are always safe. The next slide I would like to say about the spitting on the road or in the public places. See, that is also very, even many days when I am traveling outside, see, I could see people, I mean, I'm not saying only one set of people, especially what do you call, the truck drivers. I don't want to say only they are doing this thing. Many other people also I've seen doing the same mistakes again and again, spitting on the road. See, many of the organisms you may be having it. If in your phlegm, a lot of organisms may be there. Chances are there. I'm not saying all phlegms may be having it. So when you spit that thing on the road, so you are spreading the diseases. So try to avoid that. Even now, even after government's rules and regulation, also still we can see people doing this bad habit. So you youngsters should start practicing this good habit, and then you have to advocate to other people who are practicing even now. Another important thing is about when you use a common toilet. Already I said something about it. See to that you're flushing it, because even when you take the colleges, because whether it is my own Indian Academy or Christy Jayanti College, so we find that most of the time. Boys use the toilets. I'm not saying why I'm using this word is that this is what we generally see. So based on that, we are saying it. They don't keep the toilets clean. So that should not happen. So everybody, without looking into it, whether it is girls' toilets or boys' toilets, we all have to flush the toilets once it is being used. See that we are keeping it clean, so that the next person who is coming and using it is, because of you, the other person is suffering because of that. So such kind of a good habits we have to start using it, because a country like India, we were not very serious about these kind of a thing. I think pandemic has made us realize the importance of that. So please see to that you are not using it. As I already said, during the time of sneeze, how you have to protect your nose, and so that no, again, it is not only because people have that habit, like just keeping their hand in front of it and or turning to one side and sneezing. You see, that is of no use, because no, when you sneeze, what happens is that these germs are coming out of your nose or mouth, and then it is air. No, air will again move from place to place, and the disease may spread from. So that is of no use. What you have to do is that it has to be covered with the handkerchief or with your hand, or as I said, that will be the elbow region will be the best place where you can sneeze, so that no, you are not contaminating the whole environment surrounding you. Another important thing I would like to say is that, Reena, is it time? Uh, can you give me some more time, Reena? Yeah, anyway, we are talking about the garbage, how exactly we have to manage the garbage. That is also very important. Some time back, government has come up with rules and regulations how we have to segregate the waste and dispose it. So that is also very important. If you don't do that, chances are there you may touch it, and again people may inhale many of the unwanted things, and it may result in diseases. Again, urinating on the roadside. So that is also a very bad habit. If most of the, I mean, some of the men do it. So that is also a very bad habit, because when you urinate, of course, the foul smell will be there. Apart from that, not only the smell, again, some of the diseases can be spread through this kind of a practice. Again, personal hygiene, everybody knows that about taking bath every day properly, and brushing your teeth, and see to that your hair, your fingers, your hands, and everything is been kept. clean, clean and so as I said already that some of the things which you have to take care of your lifestyle. So that is what we say that the lifestyle, if we change it, I'm sure that we can get away from many of the diseases. Having bad habit, especially drinking, smoking. So you know that no, while drinking, you are damaging your liver. So in damaging your liver, you see, liver plays a major role it what you call it's there is a secretion of bile, isn't it? You have studied about all that and how exactly the blood from your stomach and intestines pass through the liver and it purifies or some kind of a process happens. So the proteins and other things get added to it. So see all these things, if it has to happen, the liver should be functioning properly. So a damaged liver will not be able to function exactly in a good manner. So that is what we say that avoid such kind of a habits. The smoke, again, smoking, what happens is that it will affect your lungs because every movie beginning, that reminder is coming again and again, but still many of the people are still following the bad habit. Sleep, which I've already said, 7 to 8 hours of good sleep is very important. Then about the diet, to an extent already I've spoken about it, how important is the diet we have just made, what are the important ingredients which has to be added. I mean, or, instead of having taking this uh, tablets and other things, naturally getting such kind of an immune will be always good. Then, as I said about exercises, take good exercise. Rigorous exercise is not what I'm talking about. Jogging, then walking in the evening, or mild, what they call going to the gym and doing some mild exercise. All these things will give you a lot of strength. Again, another important things which I would like to say is about uh, drinking water. Drink plenty of water as much as possible. I mean, it has been said that around 5 liters. See, some people may find it 5 liters. At least 3 to 5 liters is what generally you can think about it, because water can flush away all the poisonous things which is there within your body, especially these microorganisms which is there also can be flushed out of your body through urine. So drink plenty of water as much as possible. Actually, it has been said that around 25 kg weight of a person is means like almost 1 liter is what is the quantity which the medical field is talking about. So try to drink as much as water as possible. That is only not only during the pandemic period, at any point of time. So that will keep your body healthy. Then something about sunlight, which I've always said, vitamin D, which can be it's very essential for you for improving your immune system. So for that, you have to get some sunlight. So playing in little bit of when sunlight is there, if you can play for some time, that will also be helpful for you. So these are some of the things which has to be taken care. So one slide about antibiotics, which is not antibodies, it's antibiotics. So antibiotics, we take it whenever we have some kind of a disease. See, for example, urinary infection you had. What is that you do? It immediately you go to a doctor or you try. I mean, going to a doctor and getting the medicine, well and fine, because they know that what medicine to give and how exactly it has to be treated. But we people, we are not very sure about it. We try to look into it others. Let's see, he had an urinary infection, he has taken so and so medicine, so I am also having it, I am taking it. So that is a bad practice. And especially taking antibiotics without a doctor's prescriptions, it is very, very harmful, because what happens is it whether the same bacteria which is infecting both the people, we are not sure about. But that is why most of the time, especially urinary infections and all, we go for culturing of urine is mainly for to understand that which bacteria has caused that disease. So based on that is what doctor tries to treat the patient. Another thing is that antibiotics, whenever you take it, it has to be taken with a full course. Doctor says that 5 days. So you maybe after 3 days you find that okay, I have now I'm feeling better. I don't feel any disease now. So that you try to stop it. So that is the time. What happens is that the doctor knows that when you take antibiotics for 5 days, the way in which that organism is getting killed, the first day, the second day, third day, and so on and so. So when you stop at third day, maybe that is a time it is slightly it is getting killed, or maybe in an unconscious it is not fully killed. So that is the time you feel that see, what I call no symptoms are there. So you feel that see already recovered. Why doctor has given me 5 days? So let me stop at the third day. So what happens is that this organisms will become resistant because it will stay in your body, and the next time no whenever you take for any other diseases, these medicines, these will become resistant to it. So that is what we say that you have to be very careful with whenever you take antibiotics. It should not be taken without a medical support. So that is what we would like to say something about the antibiotics. And again, one more thing about antibiotics is that none of the viruses can be killed by antibiotics. You would have heard especially in the COVID time, people going to the hospital and they are being given antibiotics. It is not for the virus they are giving antibiotics, because after viral infection, what happens is that later you develop secondary infections, bacterial secondary infections start developing, especially in your lung area. So that is what so that no that leads to bronchitis or pneumonia later stages. So that in order to avoid that is what they are giving antibiotics. But antibiotics will never work for viruses. Then something about vaccinations. As we all know, the disease COVID is spreading like a wildfire, and around more than 50 million people have been infected by that, and almost 1 million people have died because of this particular disease. I mean, especially COVID. And so vaccination is what we are very much waiting for. There are different types of vaccines for different kinds of diseases. Like we have DPT, like diphtheria, pertussis, and tetanus. Combined together, we have vaccines from childhood. So when you go to as a small baby, when your mother takes you to the hospital, see, you have been given different types of vaccines at different points, points in the sense different time, different ages, so that no, you are away from such kind of a disease from the childhood itself. So that is what about the different vaccines we are talking about. Then the next slide is about our COVID-19 itself. As you know that the full form of COVID is coronavirus in December, isn't it? So that is what the full form, and in 2019 it started. And it belongs to a corona family. I hope you know about it. See, anything you study, for example, if it is about the plants or animals, when we study what is that, we have a taxonomy is there, right? We have a family, we talk about it, which belongs to, because based on the characteristics of that organism, we put all together and we say that they belong to one particular family. Same way, COVID-19 belongs to one family called corona. So all these coronaviruses, which shows almost the same type of characteristics, have been brought together under the coronavirus family. And most of the time, this is, I mean, it is affecting the respiratory diseases, and I mean, it creates respiratory diseases and gastrointestinal diseases. And we have come across that some people would have already got the disease, some people, I mean, like would have got some mild symptoms and would have recovered from it. Some people must not have got at all. So some of the symptoms which we have already know about is what is being written here. And then uh, so World WHO has already declared this a long time back. It has been declared as a pandemic. Why it is pandemic? Because it is spread throughout the world. So that is why the word pandemic has come. So this is one. I mean, I'm about to complete on one or two slides more only. This slide talks about the herd immunity, which you have heard many times about it. What exactly the herd immunity is? Initially you would have seen that what government has done is that they brought down lockdown, and many people, and then later they have opened it. So even now, also some people say that that lockdown was I mean, it is a mistake which they have done it. See, there is nothing like right or wrong, because we have not come across such kind of a pandemic in the recent past. So we are not sure that how to protect the people from such kind of a disease. So initially, what we done is that we have just put, a lockdown was being declared just to see that like we are not venturing outside and spreading the disease. But later on, while watching other countries what they are doing, we found that I mean there were so many studies, even the Spanish flu, which has happened in I think 1999 or so. So there are some kind of a history we have it related to that. I mean the spread of these kind of a diseases. So that is the time we understood something about the herd immunity. In the sense like see, especially the youngsters, I'm not saying only youngsters, the people, healthy people is what I would like to talk about. And these people venture outside. What happens is that see, they chances are there they may get the disease. So when they get the disease, if they are healthy enough, as I said before, they will not show any symptoms. The body will attack those organisms and they kill it, and you will not suffer from that disease. So such people, when they are moving outside, what happens is that you can create a herd immunity. Again, let me explain a little more clearly. See, for example, from one person, you have one, two, three, four, five people are there one after the other. Just for an example, I'm talking about it. So then the first person gets the disease, he will transfer to the second person. Second person may get the disease, he will transfer to the third person. But the fourth person, you find that he has got the disease because of his immune capacity. So this disease may not get transferred to the fourth person. Why? Because he has already developed the immunity. So that is what we are expecting from the herd immunity. When more people are becoming what you call like the what you call the strength which they get it, they are protected by the immune capacity, then the disease will not get spread. So what it is been said that around 70% of the population is able to protect, like, I mean, it can through this kind of an immunity, if they get the disease and they are recovering, I think that rest 30% can be saved is what the total which the authorities are looking for. So that is what here I have shown some diagrams which is related to it. See, for example, it is not like if some people are getting the disease, if nothing is being done related to it, you find that it's becoming contagious. All the disease will from red to blue. I mean, from blue to red, it is very easy to spread the disease. But when you find that many of the people are getting immune, I mean, like uh, getting that immunity in a natural manner, so you can reduce the spread of the disease. Because these things is what we have to do it as of now till we get the vaccines. Once the vaccine is there, definitely all we can get, we will get what do you call, the protection from the immune. But till the vaccine comes, this is naturally try to get the immune, and then so that no, you can protect the whole society. So that is what we talk about the herd immunity. And here I have put on table just to make you understand that when you talk about the vaccine, depending upon the reproduction of the reproduction capability of the microbe. So based on that is what the vaccine has to be. If the reproduction capability of that microorganism is very high, then you have to think about, because it is reproducing very fast, so that no, the vaccination which has to be given to the population has to be very high. So that is what it talks about here. In measles, reproduction rate is quite high, 12 to 18 RO. So for that, the vaccine coverage for the society is around more than 90%. So that is what this particular table talks about. Something about quarantine and reverse quarantine. So quarantine, you all know that you suffer from a disease, you are being made to sit inside the an isolated place, so that no, you are not in touch with other people, so that you are not getting the disease. That is what the quarantine is all about. So reverse quarantine, in the sense, it is not exactly the opposite of that. People who are vulnerable for to get the disease. See, for example, especially elderly people or people suffering from any disease. Again, it is not that only for elderly people. Even people, see, especially people who are suffering from asthma or some kind of things, or maybe who have undergone some kind of what you call some kind of a surgery, those who have undergone recently or some time back, or some, I mean, those kind of a people are also vulnerable for such kind of a things. So depending upon your health, such kind of a people should not venture outside. They have to be inside the house. So that is what we call it as reverse quarantine. So and but other people who are healthy enough, so those people can go out and try to develop. I mean, you have to see to that you are a good lifestyle, good sleep, good nutritious food, your balanced nutritious food you are taking. See, all these things will help you to lead a proper life. So that is what we talk about. I mean, for that kind of a quarantine, like vulnerable people, we are not allowing them to go outside, but other people going outside. So that is what now government is trying to see, that how we can develop herd immunity. But it is not very successful in most of the other countries. Our population is very high, so we are not sure about it how far. But that is the only choice with us now till we get the vaccine. So that is what about reverse quarantine. Um, Okay, sorry. Yeah. So as I said, whatever we have explained till now, just summarizing, or it's not summarizing, I'm just cautioning everybody when you come back to college, you have to be very careful with the hygiene aspect. You should not touch your eyes, nose, mouth, and things like that. When you are coughing and sneezing, see to that you are sneezing onto your the elbow region, so that no, you are not spreading it to the other people. Wear the mask, whatever the mask which is available, see to that you are wearing it properly. We see most of the time pulling the mask down, it is of no use, because every time when you're talking to anybody, use the mask and speak. And whenever you're speaking, speak loudly, so that no other person will know, can hear what you're speaking about. But never put your mask, then it is of no use at all. And then social distancing at approximately 2 meters. So 6 feet is what I mean that is a correct value. So that distance, if you keep it, no, so that in case if somebody is having it also, because we are not sure about how good your mask is, so that distance plus mask put together, you are very much safe from other things. So if you have any kind of symptoms related to whatever we have seen before, like fever or cough or any other breathing problem, initial stage itself you try to treat it, so that you'll be away from it. So I think I have been able to cover most of the things which is useful for you people. If you have any questions, you can ask. Whatever I know, I can share it. Thank you for this opportunity. And anyway, since it is a what you call virtual kind of an interactions. I could not see you all. I'm not able to know that whether you have really understood or whether you have enjoyed listening to me. Anyway, thank you, Reena and Indian Academy Management for giving me an opportunity to speak.
Ma'am, there are a few questions in the chat box. If I could read it to you.
Yeah.
This is from Haripriya, and she asked that does COVID affected patient have more immunity when compared to others?
Again, you can't say that comparing is quite difficult because, uh, as I said, individually, how much is that protection you are taking in the sense like having good sleep and taking nutritious food, well balanced diet and proper exercise and all these things will help you to be what you call you're having a very good immune system within you. But a person who has already got the disease, the problem with them is that yes, definitely they are having antibodies, but the thing is that they have to continue with having good food and things like that. So comparison is quite difficult, but the chances of them to get this next attack is quite less because since you have the antibodies. But nowadays we are hearing people who have already got the viruses. Some people are still getting some other kind of a complications is what we are listening because this is a new virus or we have not encountered with such kind of a problems previously. So still we have to know about it, like how exactly the things are going to happen in future. We have to wait and watch. So comparing is quite difficult, but of course antibodies are there with them. So again, it all depends on your body capability. That is what you more than all that, what you have to look into it is that you try to see that you are maintaining your body health in a proper manner by having whatever the things which I said. If you maintain that, I mean, you follow those kind of a lifestyle, I'm sure that you can avoid if you can avoid getting the disease second time or you don't have to be scared of getting the disease. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. There's one more question. If you take multivitamins for a long time, does it have side effects?
No, actually, especially we are talking about this B complex. That is the different types of vitamins which is there, like that B12, B2, B6, like that varieties are there. So actually, this get washed away from your body. In the sense, like what is required, the body will absorb, and other things will be removed. But for example, calcium, such kind of things and all, it will remain in your body. So vitamins taking for a longer period of time, nothing is going to happen because excess will be washed away. What is required only will be taken by your body.
Ma'am, there's a question from somebody you would like to hear from, Kupuswamy sir. And the question is how long herd immunity can last?
Actually, again, it all depends upon the population. See how exactly what do you call the health of the people. Based on that is what the herd immunity will remain. Uh, so the more the people with healthy lifestyle, so that no, you can develop more. But as it has been said, if you look only into the herd immunity, the problem is that meanwhile many people may die because of that. Because some we are not sure that see even though somebody is taking good food, I mean you feel that everything you are doing it, but still what is happening within you are not very sure about. So that is why we are looking for vaccine and we are thinking that vaccine will come at any in a near future because herd immunity always will help the society. But the thing is that many casualties will happen, many people may die because of that. So that is why it is not a very what do you call it? Since we don't have any other alternative, that is the way in which we are looking into it and we're trying to see. So I think Kopaswamy sir, I hope that answer is quite you're satisfied with that answer.
Okay, ma'am, we'll take one last question. And the question is if somebody has recovered from COVID-19, how long will the antibodies remain in his body? And how long would he be protected from gaining the infection once again?
So that is what it is difficult to answer this question. As I told you, this virus first time we are encountering it, we are seeing this virus, how exactly it works. We are yet to see about that. But see, that is what the example which I gave you, chicken pox or any other disease, such kind of a diseases. When you get it, see the second time, you some people may get it, but it will be of very mild symptoms, and or maybe you don't feel it at all, or they will not get it at all. So these are the things which you see it in our daily life. So this one, you should not get it is what we are thinking about it, but don't take too much of, I mean, don't be more confident about it, because this is a new virus. We are not much sure about it still. Testing and such kind of understanding is still happening in the medical field. But generally, virus, this is what we have understood about it. Chickenpox is a good example which I have given to you. So more about it, you have to wait and watch and find out that what is going to happen. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So we will conclude the session. And first and foremost, I would like to express my deep sense of gratitude on behalf of IASMS to our resource person, Dr. Shija Krishnakumar, for a very, very informative presentation on boosting immunity during COVID, and especially when our students are preparing to rejoin campus and be in college. I'm sure all the valuable information and tips given by ma'am will definitely help you. I would also like to render my heartfelt gratitude to our chairman, Dr. T. Somshekhar, whose leadership motivates us constantly to improve and strive to do better. I thank our director, Dr. Srinidhi K. Parthasarthi, for his unstinted support, the faculty team of ISMS for their coordination, the technical head, Mr. Chandan, for the technical support, and we are thankful to each and every one of the audience for being a part of the session, especially Kupuswamy sir, who was once our senior most alumni faculty. Thank you, sir, for joining. And stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Reena.
Thank
Thank you
you.
once again.